How's everybody doing? It is TVB, and this is the New Year's Day 2026 Skizzo Rambling 2020 Skizzo Rambling. That was terrible. Oh my gosh, what am I thinking? Well, I hope everyone had a lovely New Year's Eve yesterday, and yeah, I can't believe it. 2025 has come and gone, and now it is officially 2026. I'm recording this video right now. It is 7:10 on January 1st of 2026, and this is the annual, like I said, it's the annual Skizzo Rambling. These have kind of like replaced the older videos I used to make, like looking back on the years that just ended. Because this is gonna be like my third year in a row since 2024 of like making the Skizzo Ramblings on a monthly basis on the first day of each month every year, or at the very least as close to the first day of each month, this year as humanly possible. Like I'm determined to keep making these videos like sometime within the first week of each month. It really just depends on when I have time to do so, like with work and everything. But yeah, this Skizzo Rambling is gonna be like a few things. It's gonna be my usual, just looking back at my channel and like just sharing like channel statistics. And like always, I don't write scripts for these videos, right? But I do keep like I wrote down like the channel statistics in my notebook and also my list of highlights from 2025, so it's going to be channel statistics and just talk about how the year was for my YouTube channel, and because this is going to be the start of top 5 week as well, or at least like I'm going to try to upload all the top 5 videos within the span of a week, within the span of like 7 days. Again, it really just depends on like when I have time to make the videos. I'm going to try to upload all of them within the span of a week as much as I can. Like, there's gonna be, because I do the top 9 weeks twice a year, like, at the first week of February with, like, talking about, like, my top 9 favorite movies and worst movies of the year that just ended, and, like, my most anticipated movies of the year list, and, like, my top 5 movies turning 10 that year and turning 20 that year, so this year that's gonna be 2006, but I'm not gonna make a top 9, best movies, or I'm not gonna do a remake of like my top 9 best movies 2016 video, because that was already I talked about this in my Q&A session last night, but I'll say it again here in case for those of you who didn't tune into that I will say like 2016 was like 10 years ago at this point. That was like my first like full year of reviewing movies on my YouTube channels. Like, I started reviewing movies in 2015, but 2016 was when it became, like, a huge part of my channel. So, like, that was when I finally saw enough movies in a singular year to, like, make a top 9 best movies of 2016 list. And I gotta say, my opinions on all the films I saw during that, I mentioned, I listed off that video, have stayed mostly the same. Like, my top 5 has pretty much stayed the same. So instead of doing like another one of those kind of videos, like I'll still do the top 5 movies of 2006. But instead of remastering that video, essentially, I would I think I'm gonna do like a top 9 guilty pleasure movies, or something along those lines. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, like the Skizzo Ramblings for October the past 2 years have contained a top 9 list of some kind. Like, for my birthday Skizzo Rambling I did October 2024, I included my countries I think should be made into Pokemon regions list. And this past October, I listed off my 9 favorite dinosaurs. I figured now I could start doing lists in January Skizzo Ramblings too, not just the movie-themed ones. So yeah, this is also, so it's going to be, like, channel statistics, then my highlights from 2025, just, like, I listed off my 9, like, favorite moments from this year. And then the rest of the video is just going to be just, like, once again, just yammering about life. But anyway, without further ado, let's take a look at, like, the channel statistics. Like, so as of January 1st, 2026, today, my channel has 683,286 views. and I have 2,093 subscribers. And within this entire year, I uploaded exactly, this is a first for me, I actually uploaded exactly 100 videos with 9 streams and 1 YouTube short. So all those together, I counted up all the likes and dislikes I had gotten on those videos, the streams, and that one short, and it totaled up to 259 likes and 17 dislikes. So my like to dislike ratio was 15.24. So yeah, and oddly enough, I think, let me just take a look at my my channel manager once again. Let's see here, YouTube Studio. The short was the one that got me the most views this year, surprisingly. I did the I Am an Egg short back in May after I got my buzz cut. And as of now, it has 1,826 views and over 13 likes. That's crazy. I was like, I am an egg! I am an egg! With my buzz cut, because, you know, when your hair is that short, you kind of look like an egg. So I was like, I am an egg! Egg! The egg! The egg! Beware of the egg! Look out! It's the egg! The egg! The egg! Yes! Yes! The egg! Beware of the egg! The egg! The egg! The egg! 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 Eggs indeed. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I didn't gain as many subscribers this year as I did in 2024. Like, as 2024, like, that September, like, shortly after I moved to Columbus, we hit 2,000 subscribers. Which, honestly, I'm not terribly upset about that we didn't, like, get as many views or new subscribers this year. Because I've talked about this before, and I'll say it again here. Like, if I'm gonna be totally honest, like, I would rather lose the subscribers that, like, never watch my videos than, like, gain new ones who are also not gonna watch my videos. Like, if I said this, I actually rewatched a little bit of my skizzo rambling I recorded last year for January 2025. And I said it then, and I'll say it again here. If this is like your first time watching like any of my videos, and if the stuff I upload doesn't really interest you and you're never gonna watch my videos, just don't subscribe to me. Like, yeah, or if you are subscribed to me and you haven't been watching any of my videos, just unsubscribe. It really doesn't make a difference, and it's actually better for the algorithm to have like subscribers actually, you know, like more like the higher percentage of like your subscribers actually watch your videos. We'll push the algorithm. We'll push you further into the algorithm. So if that's making any sense, I hope making sense. But yeah, I still like, and I didn't upload as many I did. I uploaded more videos this year technically than the last 4 years. Yeah, but I think that's because I started doing the Turtle Tuesday series. Like, you know, my first episode of that series was in October of last year, and yeah, and I concluded it this past November, which is, you know, when I reviewed the 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series. Yeah, that was a great series. It kept me really consistent. It kept me on my toes with like uploading videos on a consistent weekly basis. And you know, because I was a huge fan of 2003 Ninja Turtles show, and I had so many of the Ninja Turtles action figures. That the 2012 show was definitely one I really needed to like get around to watching, and I got Paramount Plus, and I finally did. So yeah, and I got to review a lot of movies in those same videos and like talk about other things, not just Ninja Turtles every Tuesday. So yeah, feels weird that series is over, not gonna lie. But yeah, I also did more live streams this year. Again, most of those being Turtle Tuesday live streams when I do like, you know, live like reaction reviews of like the various like Ninja Turtles episodes that I was watching. And like jeez, excuse me. Yeah, like I'm gonna, but like, you know, I didn't like. There were times where I feel like I wasn't uploading as I wasn't like seeing movies and reviewing them as consistently because I was just too busy with work this year. Like I'll get more into this like nearing the end of the video, but it's like hopefully I won't have to like scramble to make ends meet as much this year, so I can, like, spend more time making videos, and just trying to, like, improve my craft doing this as much as I can. Like, I mean, with I think this is the part of the video where I'm just gonna, like, list off my 9 highlights of 2025. These are just, like, my 9 favorite memories from this year. And they're not in any particular order from, like, it's not like this isn't like a top 9 list necessarily. I arranged these in order of month, and I decided to keep it to just, like, 1 highlight per month. So, like, so one of my favorite memories from last year for 2025 was the Beartooth concert. Like, because when I found out, like, it's a crazy thing with, like, because I'm a relatively, like, recent Beartooth fan. Like, I haven't really, like, I remember listening to them and, like, giving my live reaction to The Past is Dead and Devastation in my 1,500 subscriber special live stream I did back my senior year at CSU. I remember, like, watching the music videos for that song. So I had already listened to, like, a little bit of Beartooth before my internship in Nebraska, but, like, it wasn't until my internship at the Riverside Discovery Center when, like, one of the zookeepers there, like, she would, like, they would play, like, the keepers and the other interns at that place, they would play, like, metal and punk and alternative and emo angsty stuff and, like, hard rock all the time in that place while, like, cleaning exhibits and, like, making diets and, just doing, like, regular, like, zookeeper activities I was, like, assisting them with. And, yeah, it was one fateful morning out, we were driving a golf cart there with her speaker, and I was like, "Whoa, Cindy, what song is this?" And she was like, "Oh, In Between by Beartooth." And I was, like, hooked on them immediately, and that was when I got hooked on Beartooth. And I was listening to them all the time after I left Nebraska, while door dashing and, like, just applying for zoos and, like, and then when I got zoo internships, just, like, again, just keeping it up with, like, making diets for animals and cleaning exhibits and making enrichment, and, when I was at the Utica Zoo and door dashing around my uncle's neighborhood in Denver, and then upstate New York, and then my dad's neighborhood in New Jersey. And the craziest thing is I didn't even know they were from Columbus until I moved here last fall of 2024 when I met this dude at the gym wearing a Beartooth shirt. It was telling me about, like, oh, they're playing a concert at the Schottenstein Center because they're from Columbus originally. And I was like, what? Shut up, take my money. I really wanted 2025 to just start off with a bang with that concert. And it did. Like, I just, oh man. I think that concert was sort of like the catalyst for what the rest of the year was going to look like. Because, and I've touched base on this, like, in other videos I've made since then. And I'll say it again here. So, like, forgive me if I sound like a broken record at any point throughout this video, because I have a tendency to, like, talk about subjects in these schizophrenics I've already discussed in other videos. But, like, Caleb Shumo, Beartooth's lead singer, did his whole speech on stage where he was like, oh, all the shit you have built up inside of you, just leave it here tonight. Because I've just been really prioritizing, like, controlling my anger issues and just not dwelling on bad memories or comparing myself to others. Because it's like, it's okay that I wasn't one of the cool guys in high school. When I start way back in, like, 2013 through 17 when I started making videos, like, at the start of high school, like, throughout my high school years, it was really isolating, and, and college was too. Yeah, I thought I was, like, a lot more isolated in college, that I thought I'd be. Not as isolated, obviously. Like, it was easier to make friends at university than it was when I was a teenager, but, like, still, there was just a lot. The point is, I don't need to compare myself to others who seemingly have more friends than me, or, like, have a so-called, like, cooler life than me, or, people who have better grades than me, or are more successful career-wise than me, or stuff like that. Like, I can't afford to compare myself to people anymore. And, I can't afford, and it's just, like, nor can I just beat myself up over, like, old mistakes, or, like, hold on to bitterness and resentment from towards others who have wronged me. So like, yeah, my whole like after that concert, I told myself, is like, hey, I'm just gonna like prioritize the present. Like, yeah, it is important to learn from the past, and it is, but it's more important planning for the future, and it's most important, in my opinion, to just like enjoy the present. Because I already know 2026, now that 2025 has come and gone, I already know that this year is going to be full of surprises. Like, I don't see myself moving again. Like, this year, I don't see myself leaving Columbus anytime soon. But yeah, even if I just like stay put and like, you know, live with Daniel for another year, it's just like, there's going to be full of, you know, new adventures to come. I know it. And yeah, and just like, and also Beartooth was just, again, some of their songs sound better on stage than they would on Spotify. They were just incredible. Like, you know, they played all their classics, like In Between. They ended the show with In Between, and they started the show with The Surface. And they played like Devastation and Hated and The Past Is Dead and like Doubt Me and I Was Alive and Sunshine. There's even a live cover of Mr. Brightside. Oh yeah, it was just overall a fantastic event, and I'm like, and I can't wait to see what Beartooth does next. But my second highlight of my year from February, this was like, I could not have asked for a better way to end February last year, because I saw my old friend Kenzie from CSU for the first time. You know, she was in Ohio for work for a few weeks. I picked her up and we went to the Cincinnati Zoo together. And yeah, it was just a really great day of seeing the Cincinnati Zoo for the very first time. We saw Fiona the hippo, and we saw you know, their elephant exhibit, which their bull elephant they have. That place has huge tusks. Holy cow, he was gorgeous. Yeah, and we went to the Nocturnal Building. I saw the Aardwolf and the Clouded Leopard and the Fishing Cat, and I saw the Malayan Tiger and their meerkats. The meerkats, they were so cute. And yeah, there's just a lot of really just like great exhibits at Cincinnati Zoo, and I made my video like you know, the photo montage that I filmed and these like little videos I filmed with Kenzie. And yeah, and it's like, yeah, that was on February 28th of last year. Yeah, it was like I said, just a great way to close out February. And my third and fourth highlights, these go like they're kind of like within succession between March and April, so I was like make this like just pretty quick. So my highlight from March was meeting my girlfriend Eliza. Yeah, no, my first date with her was March 14th. It was on Pi Day. And we saw the Looney Tunes movie, The Day the Earth Blew Up. So March 14th is going to be our anniversary this year. And my highlight from April is my third date with Eliza in particular, because that was the day we agreed to be official. That was the day that I asked her, like, right after we saw a Minecraft movie together. Right? Yeah. A Minecraft movie. Oh my gosh, that movie was that experience. Oh my gosh. Don't even get me started on that. But yeah, like afterwards, we finally like, you know, sealed the deal. That was April 10th, I believe. I think April 3rd was on a Friday this year. My sister's birthday is April. No wait. No wait. We saw Minecraft movie on April 11th. Yes, because April Fool's Day was on Tuesday this year. I remember that. Yeah. So, yeah, April 11th, we've been official since then, and it's just like, man, she's the love of my life, and I find, and it's like, I mean, I'll touch base more on that, like, you know, near the end of the video, but my fifth highlight from 2025, the highlight of this past May, was Sonic Temple. But this is a no-brainer, like, you know, because it was also it was my first time taking a girlfriend to a concert, and it was my first time going to a huge music festival, and it was Eliza's first concert, like, ever. Like, it was, oh my gosh. That was it was her idea for us to go see Linkin Park together too. Like we And because I was looking, because a friend I met at the Beartooth concert was telling me all about Sonic Temple and Incarceration, like music festivals here in Ohio, and it's like, and I saw Linkin Park was coming at the Sonic Temple with their new lead singer, Emily Armstrong, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, yes. This all looks incredible. So all we really could afford, unfortunately, was just the single day tickets. Like, Beartooth actually filled in for Alice in Chains that Sunday. Because Alice in Chains had to call off because their drummer got injured, with his wrists or something like that. So Beartooth filled in for them. And when we got that announcement at the show, because it was on that Saturday, I think it was, excuse me, I believe it was Saturday the 10th or Saturday the I believe what was I believe it was like May 9th or something. Let me just biggie the dates squee. Oh my gosh, my laptop. Forget it. No, man. The point is, it was back in May. But yeah, it was. I was like, we really considered making Sonic Temple like an annual tradition. Like, we already got the announcement, with the lineup for 2026, and this coming May, and I'm really tempted to go for 2 days this year. Like, because Eliza's really excited for Sublime and The Offspring and Simple Plan to play there that Friday. And Daughtry and Atreyu, funny enough, the same zookeeper that got me hooked on Beartooth also got me hooked on Atreyu. They're going to be there this May, and so is Lorna Shore. They're a deathcore group from New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey, so it's like, represent. And yeah, and then like that Sunday, Dragon Force is going to be there. I've seen Dragon Force in concert already with my friend Eric, and I messaged Eric about that. I was like, hey, would you want to visit me in Columbus and see Dragon Force another time? And he was like, is that even a real question? Like, they're going to be there the same day as Lamb of God and Amon Amarth, I believe. So yeah, a lot of great metal bands going to be there that day. So yeah, because when Liza and I went to Sonic Temple this past May, Linkin Park was the headliner, so the whole day we were just kind of meandering around, checking out the different stages and different bands. Like, we saw, with so many bands playing across 4 stages over a span of 4 days, you're not gonna have time to see all of them. So we picked, we saw Set It Off, we saw Hoobastank, and then we saw the first half of Jimmy Eat World's set. Actually Trivium was before Jimmy Eat World. Yeah, we saw Trivium, and then the first half of Jimmy Eat World set. We had to leave in the middle of their set. Unfortunately, we missed Bleed American and the middle, because I looked up their set list after that. But we did see The Sweetness. That song is great. We want to get back to the other side of the park in time to see I Prevail. And then after that, from a distance, Bullet for My Valentine was playing on the stage on the opposite side of the Temple stage. The Temple stage is the super huge stage where the headliner is always at, the other bigger bands with notably more listeners. Not that there's anything wrong with I think it's this band gets more listeners than you, or this YouTube channel gets more viewers than you, or this game gets more players, this movie or TV show gets more viewers. It's is not the best way to measure a band's quality, obviously. Right, it's just the Temple stage is just where they save the bigger names, so to speak. And yeah, so it's funny, even though Bullet for My Valentine didn't play on that stage, the crowd was huge for their set. Holy cow. So we watched Tears Don't Fall just from a distance before Linkin Park came on stage. And yeah, Linkin Park's been one of my all-time favorite bands since middle school. And even despite the controversy surrounding their new lead singer, I was really psyched to see them, and I was not disappointed. yeah, like they played all their classics, and I almost cried, obviously, when I played New Divide, which is my favorite song from them. Ever since that song was released for the Transformers Run to the Fallen soundtrack back in 2009. Yeah, I played that song in the absolute oblivion on my iPod, so seeing that after all these years was really just was really satisfying. And yeah, it was crazy, like excuse me. The next day when I was at work, when I was, at the zoo, I was just feeling so empty. It was like the bangover, so to speak, when you're headbanging to rock and metal all day at a concert, at a live music venue. It's like, I had such an amazing day that day, and the next day when I was back at work, maybe it was the lack of sleep talking, because I had to drop Eliza off, at home, and I'd go home after that. I wasn't home until really late, and I had to wake up early for work next morning, so maybe it was the lack of sleep talking, but I felt so empty the whole day, because I was like, wow, yesterday was such an amazing day, and it's like, and and Beartooth in particular makes me, since they're from Columbus, like, they make me proud to be an Ohio resident. And I was just like, this is my life now. Again, whether this leads me to a full-time job here in Columbus or not, like, even if I do eventually have to, move again, it's just like, hey, I've made these incredible memories of this place already. And the one, actually, I got two highlights, though, that were not in Columbus or in Ohio, right? That was this past July, after I got laid off from the Congo position. This past July, I flew out to Colorado for a few days for my mom's wedding. My mom got remarried this year. Yeah, it was a beautiful wedding, and and their new place in Colorado is it's stunning. It's up on a mountain, and it's like there's lots of elk running around. We saw elk. And we went hiking and all kinds of fun stuff, and yeah, it's like I'm just really glad for my mom and that she's remarried now, and I love my new stepdad too. And it was great to see my uncle and my sister again as well. And yeah, it's crazy. Summer was stressful this year, not gonna lie. My layoff period from the zoo, which was from early July until early-ish September. A little word of advice to anyone. I'll touch base on this more at the end of the video, but a little word of advice to anyone who works front desk at a gym. That's good, but having a regular job and doing front desk at a gym as a side hustle is better, because it's only low minimum wage. It's the hourly pay is not that great, so you don't want it being your only source of income forever. That's all I gotta say. Yeah, but and it was stressful, but that was definitely my mom's wedding definitely made it worth it. And and for September and October, because they both involve Cedar Point, my two highlights from September and October were my two Cedar Point trips with Eliza. For our 6-month anniversary, I took Eliza to Cedar Point, which is a theme park in Sandusky, Ohio, I believe. Yeah, it's let me look it up really fast. Biggie. Yeah, it's in Sandusky, Ohio, and it's right by which one of the Great Lakes is it? Lake Erie. Yeah, Lake Erie. Oh my gosh! The picture I'm showing to you guys on stage that I took, on screen, right now. That was on top of a Ferris wheel. It was just dusk, and the moonlight over the lake was absolutely stunning. Whenever I driving around the Great Lakes, or all the times I've seen the Great Lakes in my life, I've had to remind myself, hey, those are lakes, not the ocean. Oh my gosh, you don't realize how great they are until you see them up close. It's oh wow, that's a really, really big lake. No wonder there's been rumors about lake monsters in them, Champ from Lake Champlain, from one. It's basically North America's Loch Ness Monster. There is a lake monster named Champ, allegedly, somewhere. Yeah, but Cedar Point's a great theme park, great rides, and great food too. Like both times we were there, Liza got us dining passes, so we got to like eat every hour. And there's a petting zoo there too. We didn't get to see the petting zoo on our first trip, that September, for our 6-month anniversary, but we did on my birthday. So it was just the two of us for our 6-month anniversary at Cedar Point this past September. But on my birthday, this past October 5th, I took her and her brother, and my roommate Bradley, and my friend Keo from the karaoke place that I frequent on Fridays. Yeah, we had a fantastic day together. We got to see the petting zoo that day. I got to feed the camels and the other farm animals that were there, and we would do more rides and, just enjoy the spooky festivities too. Yeah, like Cedar Point's a really great theme park, and I suggest you guys check it out if you get the chance. And last, but definitely not least, the other highlight this year was this past November for Thanksgiving. I got to fly home for a few days and visit my dad. And I got to see Zootopia 2 with my old friends Joe, Shane, and Danny. It was their first time. It was Joe's first time seeing Shane and Danny since we all graduated high school back in 2017. Because all the times I've been home, including during my 13-month, my 13 months back home in Millburn, living at my dad's house after ending my internship at the Utica Zoo and before moving here to Columbus. That was they didn't really have any chances to see each other, and this past November they did, and we saw Zootopia 2, and it was a really, again, it's crazy, that movie beat out Frozen 2 for being the highest grossing animated film. That's crazy to me. So yeah, hopefully we won't need to wait, freaking 9 years for Zootopia 3, because, hey, without spoiling it, stick around for the credits, oh man. Really interested to see what the direction where that franchise is going. And like I said, when I talked about the movies turning 2016, turning 10 this year. I can't believe Zootopia turns 10 this March. That's the first Zootopia. I gotta watch that movie after I'm done recording this. And this is gonna, for the remainder of this skizzo rambling, I'm just gonna be doing my usual just yammering about life and all the things, because it's January and December every year are the year's ends essentially. This is when and October, the 3 months where I do the most recollecting, just thinking about where things have been now compared to where I was in years prior to it. It's because there's other, and obviously those 9 highlights I just listed off aren't the only good times I've had this year, because with September, it was kind of a close call between my Cedar Point trip with Eliza as my September highlight, or the Popcorn Festival that we went to. That was when we saw Quiet Riot, the iconic 80s hair metal band, play a free concert at the Popcorn Festival, which was really cool. And for April, we also went to COSI together. It's a fancy science museum here in Columbus. Which, hey, I think if I were to if the zoo thing doesn't work out, God forbid, museums are probably the next best thing for me after zoos and aquariums, because a lot of because I met when I was studying zoology at CSU, I met my fair share of my fellow zoology majors who were considering either zookeeping or or aquariums or museum work, where people can talk about dinosaurs and stuff like that. Yeah, and COSI is a beautiful museum, lots of dinosaur fossils, and it's this seasonal shark exhibit there, and a planetarium and all this other really cool stuff. And yeah, and there's still so much of Columbus I haven't really checked out yet. That's crazy. I've been living here. It's been 16 months almost since I moved here to Ohio, and I still feel I've only really scratched the surface of places to check out. I love Columbus. I love Ohio. Every month I've been here, it's been the past year and a half almost. It's been one adventure after the next. And that's one of my main goals I want to do this year for 2026 is just keep doing that. As well as, just the other things, just keep at it, the zoo and my second job. There's because my main resolution, my New Year's resolution for last year, for 2025 was just let's just not move at all this year. Whether I you know, because back then, like I always find myself saying this, like during like my New Year's Eve like Q&A sessions or like my New Year's Day like videos. I'm like, if I went back in time a year ago from today and told my past self that like my main LA Fitness where I got my second job, you know, working front desk, would be shutting down by next year. That's a thing. Our last day at my main location here in Columbus, the place that hired me where I got started. Which is the one that was like right down the street from the Polaris Mall. Yeah, our last day there was December 18th, which is ironic because December 18th was the same day as my my 4-year anniversary of graduating from CSU. It's like December 18th is like kind of a blessed day and a cursed day for me now at the same time because it's like, you know, like, I miss that location very much. It was just a really convenient location for like all of us, including our members, especially for our members. Yeah, just where the neighborhood it was at in Columbus. Yeah, like it would, like I said, with that main, like if I went back in time a year ago and told my past self that, hey, the gym you just got hired at is going to be shutting down next year, and also like instead of returning to the Congo team this fall, you're going to join the character ambassador team with events and promotions. I think 26-year-old me would be looking at now 27-year-old me like you would have like it would be like totally flabbergasted and a little bummed out about the gym closing. Yeah, because you know, I mean, it's not like I'm out of work. Like this 2025, I covered a lot of shifts at the other locations when I wasn't needed at my main place or at the zoo, obviously. So it's like, you know, I've already been picking up, like, and like last January and like February, I was especially covering a lot of shifts at one of the other locations on like Thursday nights, and then like, you know, within the past few months, the other location I've been covering the most shifts at is gonna be my new like main place, my main HQ, and I've covered at one of the other places like a few times, so I'll be there too. Like, you know, I've already been like kind of just like jumping around the different gyms for the past year, so I'm just basically gonna keep doing that for this year. And as for the zoo, I mean, they should be posting new positions for like, you know, seasonal positions from other departments like any day now that it's January. Because I remember like around this time last year, the education department was like hiring for you know, seasonal educators. And I did have an interview for that back in February, like this last February, but they chose somebody else. But yeah, I'm still determined to keep at it there, because like if I am going to be a seasonal for like multiple sessions before getting my first full-time zoo job, whether it's here in Columbus or keyword if I eventually move again for somewhere else, might as well try out being a seasonal at different like departments around the zoo. Like, you know, first Congo, then events and promotions. What's next? Most likely I'm gonna return to events and promotions this March. I would like to, at least, in case, you know, because I still want to work for go back to one of the animal teams if I can, or try to go for education again. But yeah, I think my current position is kind of like the next best thing. Which, yeah, with like, because I touched base on this in my last skizzo rambling that I did for December, and I'll say it again this time. Like, I didn't get to work at the zoo this December as much as I initially planned on doing, so like my hours were cut a lot more than I thought they'd be. So it's like, with that being said, with my layoff period coming around, and, you know, lightning doesn't usually strike twice, but God forbid it does, and another gym location closes. Like, I like, if I can't, especially if I, like, you know, we'll see if I might get a third job this year, or I might, at the very least, I'm considering other work opportunities here in Columbus. Because it's a big city. There's a lot to do around here. Like, you know, not just that museum I mentioned, but there is a petting zoo that I'm aware of. There's, like, you know, because one of, you know, because my main LA Fitness that closed recently, like, you know, all of us have, like, either have gone off to different locations, you know, like what I just described, or have like, because my manager, for example, already left for like for a job at a veterinarian office. So hey, there's veterinarian offices, there's dog daycares, because I think anyone who's been watching my videos for, like, the past few years at this point probably knows this, but, like, my life was basically going back and forth between dog daycare jobs and zoo internships after I graduated from CSU. Like, I've worked at 2 Dogtopias, and there's at least 2 Dogtopias here in Columbus. My first Dogtopia I was at for 14 months in Columbus, in Fort Collins, my senior year at CSU, and then after I graduated, I was there, for 40 hours a week, basically, just trying to work as much as I can before I left for the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo internship. And then, my last dog daycare job ended right before I left for Columbus. So I can move here for the fresh start in life. I was there for, almost a year, late October 2023 up until, right after Labor Day for 2024, right before I moved to Ohio. And it's crazy. 2025 was not only did I keep my New Year's resolution and not move at all for 2025, it was my first year of not moving since I graduated from CSU, and it was my first full year since I graduated from CSU with no DoorDash and no dog daycare jobs. Nothing pet related, which, for all I know, 2026 might not be the case. Maybe, keyword maybe, I'll consider working at a dog daycare again. I like I said, I'm purely thinking out loud on all this. These whole videos, the Skizzo ramblings, are essentially just me thinking out loud for 30 to 45 minutes, if not longer or shorter than that. So, I might, try giving pet places another chance. I definitely would rather give, dog daycares or pet resorts another chance, because I also have a little bit of pet resort experience. When I took my YouTube hiatus, spring of 2023, during that 2.5 month break from making YouTube videos, I worked for 4 weeks at a pet resort. Yeah, that was cool. Being a pet resort, it was not that different from either Dogtopias I've been at, but it's just the way they're operated. The way pet resorts are operated from Dogtopias are quite different from what I've just the whole the type of routine it is, so to speak. And there were cats at pet resort too, not just dogs. I would rather give pet places like that another chance than door dashing. That's more for my car's sake than anything else. I think nowadays I would rather because it's been this coming April is gonna mark 2 years since my last DoorDash, and it's just because with door dashing you're on your own for gas and maintenance related expenses for your car. So eventually, nowadays, now that I'm in Columbus, and I'm and because Eliza lives an hour north of Columbus, right? So I would rather save putting all that mileage in my car for visiting her and going on dates with her and driving her around, because she doesn't have she doesn't have a driver's license, so I'm trying and which is fine. I love long car rides. I love driving around, taking day trips to places. I would rather save the gas and the mileage and the other wear and tear stuff in my vehicle and stuff like that for my car than I would rather save my car for doing those things and driving to and from the zoo and to and from the gyms than door dashing. Don't get me wrong, I do miss door dashing sometimes. It was fun. It got me out of the house, and it was like I said, I love long car rides, and it was basically just getting paid to drive around and delivering stuff all day. It was cool. And I was getting tips, and I got to see new restaurants and check out different places. And I've found a really nice groove being front desk at LA Fitness, too. I've found a nice niche. But, it's I've always known right off the bat when I moved here to Ohio that, me being a seasonal at the zoo and 3 months later when I got the job at working front desk LA Fitness, and of course even my living situation, living here at my roommate Daniel's house, it's none of this is gonna last forever. Eventually I'm gonna have to find a full-time job, and eventually I'm gonna have to leave LA Fitness for something bigger and better, and eventually I'm gonna have to find my own place. I think eventually Eliza and I are gonna move in together somewhere, but we'll see when that happens. Just not anytime soon, for sure. And yeah, just And like I said earlier when I was talking about the Beartooth concert, like I try not to like stress myself out too much over the future, because I find that like, you know, if you just like think about, oh, like what if I can't find a job, or like what if I have to move out, or what if I, you know, lose my job, or, you know, this thing, and just like, you know, stressing lately though, it's been like, because I'm gonna be 28 this October, and it's just like, oh geez, like what am I doing? I'm turning 28, and it's like I'm like officially closer to my 30s at this point. It's crazy to think that, you know, with everything, it's like, you know, my YouTube channel turning 13 years old this October. It's like, oh my gosh, like it's like the Smash Mouth song All Star. It's like, well, the years start coming and they don't stop coming, fed to the rules and hit the ground running. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, you know, with all these things, it's like the years there's gonna be like highs and lows throughout life, and I'm trying not to like, you know, worry too much about like, oh, what if these bad things happen, like whether it's like something with medical reasons or something horrible happening, like, you know, because not gonna lie, one of the reasons why summer was a stressful time of the year for me this year was because of just like a lot of just like personal stuff with my going on in my family, like, you know, when I because there was a lot of just, you know, not just with like me with me having to like, you know, scramble to make ends meet. That's the thing. When I mentioned if I might have to find a new job this year, it's like I am right now. Like I'm like making ends meet isn't a problem for me right now. Money is not as much of a problem for me at the moment now as it was during the summer, during my layoff period from the zoo. I really had to like just rethink my spending habits and things like that. Oh, that's good. I just swig some water really fast. Yeah, and like there's a lot to do here in Columbus, and it's like, and I've been picking up the shifts both at the zoo and the gym. I've built up enough to, like, I've saved up enough to like afford my rent utilities for the next like 2 to 3 months. So I'm not like that worried about, like, you know, I'm not as worried about making ends meet this coming layoff period, you know, before I'm back at the zoo, hypothetically, this March. Like, we'll see how, but like, I'm still determined not to pull more, like, that you know, the savings I have rebuilt within the past few months. I'm still determined not to pull more money out of them than I have to, because I'm not just going to need the money for rent, I'm also going to need it for, like, you know, car stuff, like, you know, my next oil change, and, you know, gas and stuff like that, and other things. Like I said, my anniversary with Liza is gonna be this March, so like I'm, you know, just thinking about like plans, you know, for this year. Like, you know, there's, you know, just more things to come, and it's like, and like I said, I'm gonna do the top 5 week or top 5 month, more or less. Like, again, there's a lot of, because of my work schedule, because of like because of all the shifts I've been picking up between both jobs, like both the zoo and the gym, it's like I haven't had as much time for seeing movies this year. And there are some movies that have been released that I still want to see. Some, like, you know, I still haven't seen K-pop Demon Hunter, for example. But I've listened to the soundtrack the other day, and yeah, I can see why it's like such a huge fad right now, especially amongst kids. Like, because when I was working booth at the zoo with events, you know, this past October, so many like little girls were dressed as like the main characters from K-pop Demon Hunter, and the soundtrack is great too. So I would like to give that movie a watch before I make. So I might just like bite the bullet and, you know, make my list tomorrow. And just film the video tomorrow. I might wait a few days. I already know that I'm going to include my 9 most anticipated movies of the year list with my, whatever my first movie review is going to be this year. I haven't really checked show times for this coming week just yet. But, like, you know, Discount Tuesday is going to be on the 6th. Yes. So, yeah, maybe there's, like, a movie that was released, you know, December that I haven't had a chance to see yet. That's what I did last year, like, you know, because, like, this has been, like, kind of a thing for the past, like, 2 years. That, like, I will clump my most anticipated films of the year with my first movie review of the year, you know, in January. Like, that's what I did with Night Swim back in 2024, and also my Anora review last year for the films I was looking forward to the most in 2025. And yeah, it's like, I haven't seen enough like, like I said, I haven't had a chances to go to the movies as much during 2025, so it's like, I haven't, like, I might just do top 5s this year instead of, like, top 9s. Because, like I said, I haven't, like, I don't think I've seen enough, like, great movies to make, like, a top 9 best list, but I haven't seen enough, like, flat-out horrible movies to make a top 9 worst list either. So, yeah, like, there's a lot of, well-received films that I've missed, but there's also a lot of really not well-received films that I've missed this year, too. So I feel like I might hold off on, like, those, like, the best and worst movies of 2026 lists for, like, another, like, 2 or 3 days, perhaps. Well, we'll see. Like, this is all kind of just, like, me, like, throwing out ideas, I suppose. Like, I'm excited to make the videos, though. That reminds me, I've realized that I haven't seen as many movies from 2006 or 7, but 2006 or 2007 as, because next year I'm going to make my, because there's going to be movies turning 20 for in 2027. I'm just thinking way ahead on this. Yeah, so I've realized I haven't been as brushed up. I'm not as brushed up my mid 2000s films as I initially thought I was. But yeah, I still know what my favorite movie 2006 is, though. Like, I'll so stay tuned for that. Yeah, just I talked about this last night in my Q&A session. I'll say it again. Like, I am determined to, like, read more books this year and do more, like, book reviews. And just, like, try to find ways to just, like, keep improving my, just, like, not just, like, my YouTube videos, but improve my craft for just, like, writing and, like, drawing pictures. Because, and I did see an interesting, like, job opening, like, for, like, teaching English to, like, immigrant kids at the library the other night when I was there just, like, hanging out, like, reading, like, dinosaur books and whatnot. Because there's a library, like, in my neighborhood here in Columbus that, like, I like to walk to sometimes and just, like, hang out there for a few hours with my laptop or just, like, listen to music and just, like, watch the world go by. Yeah, and just, like, do, like, kind of, like, just random little things. Yeah, my neighborhood is pretty walkable. I was actually just walking to and from the grocery store earlier today. Yeah, I had a pretty chill New Year's Day. And, because yesterday was, I gotta say, New Year's Eve was, I had a good New Year's Eve this year. Like, yesterday, like, New Year's Eve is one of my favorite holidays because it's, like, one of those holidays that doesn't really have any, like, national or religious context. Like, everyone can enjoy it, pretty much. Yeah, it's, like, celebrated all around the world. And, I just, and I remember, like, and, people of all, like, and, yeah, it's like I worked yesterday from 9:30 to 1:30. It was like New Year's Eve. It was like a little like noon celebration for kids. We put on a whole show with the character team and everything. And then like right after that, I went up to see my girlfriend and Eliza and we went to a taco restaurant. Kind of just like we went to the bowling alley after that. So we had like a little mini New Year's Eve. Because, like I said, her place is, like, an hour north of mine in Columbus, so it's, like, driving home an hour after midnight in the dark on New Year's Eve with, like, drunk drivers around, with, like, a higher risk of there being drunk drivers, at least, and the cold and dark and snow wasn't not the safest idea, so we just had, like, an afternoon, like, early evening, like, little New Year's Eve instead, and I just, like, after I got done with my live stream after I got home from that, like after I did my Q&A live stream last night, I just like ran off to my New Year's plans, like additional plans I had like right after that. And yeah, and just today was because I didn't have to work at either the zoo or the gym today, but I'll be back at the gym pretty early tomorrow morning. So yeah, like yeah, it's just. The holidays were really good this year. Christmas was great. Just 2025 was just it was a roller coaster. It was arguably a bigger roller coaster than I initially thought it'd be. Because it's like, yeah, like I said, the reason why I've been like so hell-bent on just like living here in Columbus for as long as possible and just like not moving again even if I can't get a full-time job here at the Columbus Zoo, if I can't, like, move up past the seasonal positions, was because it's like, you know, graduating from college back in 2021 in the middle of a pandemic and moving 5 times for 3 unpaid internships within the span of a year, like within the span of like July of 2022 up until August of 2023, when I left Fort Collins for the Mountain Zoo internship, and then like interning at, you know, like, and the like, you know, between that up until like, you know, my internship at the Utica Zoo and moving back home to New Jersey after that, that was the hardest thing I ever did. You know, just moving that much within a short time frame. So I was just like, and, you know, when I was back home in Millburn at my dad's house, I was, like, looking at zoo jobs when I wasn't at Dogtopia or when I was, you know, not door dashing. And I was, like, looking for a place not just to, like, get a zoo job, but also just, like, get a fresh start in life. And I did. And I've been... And 25 was, like, a roller coaster in more ways I realized than I initially thought there'd be. Because, like, there were, like I said, just a lot of stuff just going on with my, you know, my family, and, you know, this past summer, and like and you know, just with my gym closed, and just some and just things happening at the zoo, like, you know, like as you know, me not returning to the Congo team, so having to find a new zoo position, you know, with events and promotions, and having, like, you know, switch departments like that, and you know, and things like, you know, because if you work at a zoo, if you want to go for the zookeeping, the zoo field, like, you know, you will have to, like, say goodbye to animals that you get to know. It's really sad. Like, I had to, you know, it's like, I talked about this in other videos I've made since April, and I'll say it here. I take a shot every time, like, I say stuff like that throughout these videos. I do. But, like, or, I mean, jokes aside, like, Mara the tiger passed away this past April, and like I remember seeing her when she was a mother with 4 cubs way back in 2013, like that summer before I started making YouTube videos. The one time my family and I visited Columbus, we visited the zoo that summer when I was an incoming freshman in high school. Like, I remember seeing Mara the tiger back then with her first litter of cubs, and after that, I followed the zoo on Facebook all throughout high school, and, like, you know, just got updates for other, like, endangered animal births I had since then. It's like, I do think it's destiny that I'm here, because back then it was like my dream to, like, move to Columbus and be a zookeeper at that place, because at the time it was right the #1 zoo in the country, and being the go big go home kind of kid that you know, the go big go home kind of person I always have been, I was like, I'm gonna move to Columbus, Ohio, and like my other classmates in 8th grade were looking at me like, Vitas, why the hell do you want to move to Ohio of all places? And I was like, oh, because the Columbus Zoo, it's the #1 zoo in the country. I want to be a zookeeper, so might as well shoot for that place. And like all these years later, like I never gave up on that dream necessarily, but you know, I was like, eventually when I was like, you know, looking at zoo jobs after I graduated from CSU and after completing those internships and moving around, I was like, you know, I guess I was like, hey, I never really, like, you know, lost sight of, like, that vision of my moving in Columbus. I was just like, hey, I wanted to just, like, find an area that was affordable, like, a neighborhood that was affordable, and get a zoo job and said affordable neighborhood. And, you know, as long as the zoo is, like, regulated and accredited, the animals are in good hands, they care about conservation and all that stuff. And, yeah, lo and behold, here I am. And it's just, like, something I do, like, I was just talking to my coworkers the other day about the idea of there being, like, about the possibility of there being a multiverse and alternate realities. It's like, sometimes I ask myself, like, oh, what if I had, like, never moved to Columbus? Like, what if I had just, like, stayed in New Jersey? Like, if I just, like, stayed at my dad's house? Or never, like, you know, if I had never, like, gotten a zoo job, or if I had never gotten a new job that would warrant me moving out of my dad's house, if I had just stayed in New Jersey, or if I had just stayed in Colorado, like, you know, back in 2023, what if I had never taken the internship at the Utica Zoo, or, like, at a zoo or what if I had, like, taken an internship at a zoo somewhere else that wasn't so far out east that would warrant me moving back to, you know, that would warrant me leaving Colorado, like, altogether. And it's like, I'm glad neither of which ended up being the case. Like I said, it's just like, I'm extremely blessed to say this, but it's like 2025 again. Despite like the challenging times I've had to deal with within the past year, it's like it was like my favorite year so far. Like every year since I graduated from college has been progressively better than the last. So I'm extremely fortunate to say that. It's like, and my heart, like, if you guys have, like, my heart breaks for all the people who've, like, that I've talked to who are like, oh my gosh, this has been, like, the worst year. Like, people who are just, like, really, like, not happy in their lives right now. And it's like, yeah, one of my favorite YouTubers always ends his videos by, like, saying, like, hey, like, focus on you, only you, and you will achieve. Like, if you can do anything you set your mind to. And he's always like, getting these really encouraging words. It's like, if you're going through a season right now, it's called going through it for a reason. Like, no winter lasts forever. And yeah, so I have a good feeling about 2026, and I hope you guys do as well. And I want to end these videos by just reminding you guys, like, hey, if there's any subject you would like me to discuss more of in these kinds of, like, skizzo ramblings, or if there's, like, a certain story you feel like sharing, let me know in the comments. Like, I'd love to hear from you guys, and, like, let me know how your 2025 was and what your plans are for 2026, if you feel comfortable doing so. So, yeah, with all that being said, once again, thank you all so much for making 2025, like, such a special year. Again, it was crazy, it was hectic, and it had its, like, challenging moments, with... But yeah, everything that's happened within the past year, I really wouldn't change it for the world. And yeah, so yeah, thanks again. Stay tuned for my upcoming videos, and stay beastly.